Hello, good afternoon. Let me introduce myself. My name is Kata Cynthia Wahini, and usually everybody called me Cynthia. And I'm student of Diploma 3 English Department Universitas Singaraja. And so today I want to present about email and commercial correspondence. And so I will explain about chapter 10, 11, 12, and 15. And so let's get started. The first chapter is recognizing level of formality, and the first is formal for long and complex sentence, and in phrase is long or complex is generally a sign of greater formality. And for example, formal, we have pleasure in confirming the acceptance, and less formal, this is to confirm that your order has been accepted for. And the second is modal verbs, and the modal auxiliaries may, can, could, and would are often used to make a request sounds more courteous and less direct. And for compare example, may I remind you that we are still awaiting receipt for our order, or we are still awaiting receipt for our order. And the third is nouns. When there is a predominance of nouns rather than verbs, this gives an email a feeling of distance and formality. And for example, please inform me of your arrival, or please let me know when you will be arriving. And the fourth is multisyllable words, and generally a clear indication of formality is given by the number of syllables in a word, and the more there are, the more formal the email is likely to be. And for example, formal advice, and informal let someone to know. And next is omission of subject and other parts of speech. A clear sign that an email informal is when the subject of the verb or the auxiliary is even more informal when the article's possessive adjective is also missed out in the telegraphic style. And abbreviation and acronyms and smileys, I will explain them in the next chapter, that is chapter 15. And next is avoid excessively formal form of English, because over the centuries and particularly in the last few decades, the English has increasingly become more and more informal, and usually most languages in their written form tend to be more formal than written English. And next is don't mix levels of formality, because the mixed way make the recipient feel that the sender is unprofessional. And next is avoid very colloquial English. In your email correspondence, you may learn many new phrases from native English speakers, and there are some examples for this. First, the colloquial English. If you start anymore into info, then just shout. And for equivalent in neutral English is let me know. And now we are go to the chapter 11 about punctuation and capitalization. And the first is no punctuation necessary after salutation. And please pay attention to the use of punctuation marks and capital letters that will be used. And the second is hyphens. You can use hyphens of a comma to and after thoughts. And the third is exclamation marks and smiley in writing. because if you don't pay attention to its use, it might be misinterpreted in could offend someone. And all caps. Please pay attention to use all caps within the main text of an email, because just like the of punctuation marks, if the use of capital letters is also wrong, it will cause offense from the reader. And next is chapter 12 about sending attachment, and the first is consider not sending an attachment to someone with who you have had no previous contact. You can avoid sending attachment by giving the recipient a link where, if they wish, they can download your document. And second is always tell your recipient when you have attached document, use more polite language. Like use the word attach rather than here is or are. And next is detail any change with respect to a previous document. And if you are sending an update document with respect to the document that your recipient already has, please explain any key difference. And next is instruct the recipient on what feedback you expect on the attachment. And for example, please find attach a list of items that. And next, for non-work attachment, explain why the attachment will be of interest to the recipient. When you send an attachment that you think might of interest to someone rather than being an essential work item, explain why you think the recipient might find it interesting. And next we are go to the last chapter about abbreviation, acronyms, and smileys. And the first is number. Number occur quite frequently in the abbreviation used in the chat lines, email, and the next message. And the second is acronyms. A quick way of writing is to use acronym where its letter stands for a word. And how sounds of letters are used. Letters have always been used in English instead of a word. And next is use of symbol, and for the example you can see in the slide. And next is contraction. Two words here have been around for decades as part of the spoken language and also in rock, rap, and blues lyrics. And they are contraction of two words which imitate the sound of English spoken quickly. And short forms. For centuries, English has been a language which has liked to simplify itself by reducing the lack of long words. And abbreviation. The abbreviation just use some letters of the original words, and this differs from a short form which only use the initial letters of a word. And alternative spelling. Text and the chat lines have had huge impact on the way English words are not being spelled in informal context. And the last is smileys. Smileys are also known as emoticon, and there are several characters that are put together and become an emoticon. And for the example, you can see in the slide. And so that's all about the email and commercial correspondence, chapter 10, 11, 12, and 15. And so I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you and goodbye.